All right, guys, let's talk about some serious stuff. Let's talk about the Fatherless epidemic in America featuring Valuetainment. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We'll get you on the grind and improve your mind every single video. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well in the video. Give some support here. So we're going to do this is a video by Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David, that we're going to react to about fatherless homes in America. So let's go into it and give our thoughts on this, because I think this is a very important topic that should be discussed.
Yeah.
And so let's go right into it.
I have some disturbing stats I want to share with you about fatherless homes. And by the way, some of the stats, you know, I've seen this before. I'm going to tell you, when you read some of these stats, you're going to sit there and say, that is insane. By the way, these stats are from 2021 of the impact a father makes in a child upbringing, both a girl and a boy. Like I said, disturbing, but you will be shell-shocked with the stats. If you get value from the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let me get right into it. The U.S. has the highest rate of children living in a single-parent household of any nation in the world. About 80% of single-parent homes are led by single mothers, at a rate of 23% of children living with one parent and no other adult. The United States stands over 3 times the world average of 7% of children raised by one parent. For reference, the number stands at 3% in China, 4% in India. This is not an area we want to be competing with other countries, by the way. If there is a statistic to not be competing in, this is one of the statistics. China's at 3.
So, yeah, guys, this should be very concerning to a lot of us. Now, I don't know about you, Mike, but I've been seeing a lot of like on Twitter, I've seen a lot of like man versus woman fist fights. I'm seeing more of those on Twitter.
I've been seeing you commenting on them too. I've been seeing that you've been seeing them.
Yeah.
And and clearly, since I've been seeing that, I have been seeing it as well. And it's pretty odd.
And I mentioned this to you guys because it seems like there's more divide now between the genders. And I'm seeing this everywhere I go, even at the workplace. Like, there's just a lot of like animosity and just a lot of hatred going around. And I say that to say that I think this is part of the reason why there's so many people who are having kids and then they're not staying together. Right. Yeah. I think that's part of the reason, at least. I mean, there's many reasons I think that go into it. But why is it in America? Is it because maybe men in America, like we talk about in our videos, have gotten so weak that their relationship with the women that they're with and they have kids with just doesn't work out because a lot of men can't handle a relationship. They don't understand women, and then things go south. And a lot of women have been masculinized to the point where it's just very
they just don't take the shit.
They don't take shit seriously. Yeah, and a lot of them are in relationships with males and not men. And and all the agenda that's being pushed in America right now
to masculinize women.
Yeah, and they're trying to get women in the workplace, getting them away from the nuclear family, further dividing the strong bond between the complementary relationship between men and women. I mean, there's so many factors that we can talk about, but these are not good statistics.
Yeah, and the fact that what is it? The USA, China, and India have the highest populations of the world, right? Give or take. And if we are way past the other China and India, China has 3%. I'm assuming he's going to say India has 4%. That is scary because they have, I'm pretty sure, even more population than we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think India has the highest population, I think, in the world. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. And if that's the case, that's fucking horrifying. That you could tell that we don't know what the fuck. Either we don't know what the fuck we're doing, or we're just been demasculinized to the point where you expect it at this point.
Masculine men just don't attract feminine women, and then there's just this, and then they don't get along very well, and the sexual polarity is destroyed, and then and then these people, they have kids, or these males are nutting inside these girls, and they're not manning up to raise these kids, and they just leave the woman, or the woman leaves the man, and they separate. And then who really suffers ultimately is the children suffer because they're not raised with both parents, and it harms their childhood upbringing and their psychological brain. Because I think when a child has a mother and father, it's when they're going to be who's masculine and feminine. It brings out the best in children and the best raising. But all these fatherlessness homes and single mothers and even single fathers, well, all this it's going to affect these children, and it's going to affect the world in the future. And we're already starting to see the consequences of this. But let's continue the video.
Yeah.
India's at 4. The world's at 7. We're at 23%. in
World
America,
at 7.
zero bragging rights. This
That's
is
not
the
gay
stat
for you.
everybody wants.
America is failing right now at keeping men and women together, raising children. That is extremely horrifying. It's very sad. You know, even my own parents are divorced as well, and they're both remarried. But it's just like it's pretty crazy to think that, you know, and a lot of people cannot handle breakups very well, which just makes it even worse. So let's just keep going.
Wants to hide. And this is the stats where the side effects of this we ain't gonna see for 2 decades
Exactly.
or 3 decades or longer. Takes a while to see the side effects. Let me continue. Even for children with a father present in the home, the average school age boy only spends about 30 minutes per week with one-on-one conversations with his father. For comparison, the same boy on average will spend about 44 hours a week watching television, playing video games, and surfing the internet. In our house,
Okay, so that's a
there is
tough one. I forgot who said this. Someone said it, but they said if you're not raising your children, then society will. I don't know who. I forgot who exactly said that. Probably a bunch of people said that, but it's very true. Instead of your child learning life skills and stuff from you, they're on the internet. They're surfing. They're getting all these crazy ideas from the internet and being influenced by influencers and people telling your kids what they should be doing. And instead of you being in control of your children, their phone is controlling them instead. And depending on who they listen to, they're in big trouble. Any
Exactly.
thoughts?
Yeah, and even when like, and what's funny is like when we were kids, right? Because we technically are the last generation that was spent most of their childhood outside, and so like we weren't always playing video games or watching TV. We did a lot of that when like it was like raining or snowing or something like that, where like we couldn't actually physically go outside. And so we did a lot of that. But other than that, we were outside, we were talking to people, we were having conversations with not only like acquaintances or friends or strangers, but with our parents and asking them questions and trying to learn the world through other people. And we didn't really spend a lot of time, at least in the beginning stages, doing these types of things. Granted, some of the stuff wasn't really in full speed like it is now back then, but in that same note, like there was more of a hindrance on doing those types of things because it was important to be outside. It was important to, have conversations with family members, and it was important for all that to be brought up well. And a lot of that has pretty much been thrown to the wayside because of the rise of technology.
no video games throughout the week. It's on the weekends after you read 150 pages throughout the week. Then you have the right to play video games for an hour or two on the weekend. And that's what you have to earn. You have to move your body, you have to exercise. There's certain things you need to do to get to that point. That's
Exactly.
our
I agree. I 100% agree. I kind of had that a little bit in the beginning, but because I did a lot of sports and stuff, I was allowed to do certain things extra on.
household. But the stat tells you 44 hours a week of watching TV, playing video games, and surfing the internet. Let me continue. 90% of all homeless and runaway children, 63% of teen suicides, 85% of children and teens with behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. Let me read that stat to you one more time. 90% of all homeless and runaway children, 63% of all teen suicide, 85% of children and teen with behavioral disorder come from fatherless homes. That is a very, very big number.
That's pretty
Next,
crazy.
fatherlessness likewise has a direct link to teen pregnancy and sexual activity. Roughly 70% of teenage pregnancies come from women raised in a fatherless home. 70% of teenage pregnancies comes from fatherless homes. 70%. That's a big number. And these same women,
That's why, like, and a lot of people who are in jail, like statistically, a lot of them are come from a family without a dad in the house. You know, that's why we tell men, men should be very aware with where they put their dick, right? Because it sounds kind of funny when I say it, but it's true because you have to be very careful with what you do with the power that you have as a man. And if you're going to insert it into women that you're not going to be with for a long time, at least you should at least wear condoms and try to protect yourself or prepare likewise, pull out, like do whatever you can.
Yeah.
But when you're not, when you don't want to have kids with a girl, you should not be impregnating them if you don't plan on marrying them or being with them, for a long time, because it not only does it mess her up, messes up the children that you decide to keep. And you got to be very aware of who you are, what you want, and how you choose to express your sexuality, especially in the world coming up. It's gonna get worse.
Yep. It's only going to get worse from here unless if we do something about it.
Have significantly higher abortion rates than women raised by both a father and a mother. On the whole, fatherless kids are 20 times more likely to be incarcerated and 11 times more likely to exhibit violent behavior than children from two-parent household. 20 times more, okay? 20 times more. If a man and a wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same chances as children raised by just their father. You may already be blown away by the stats before, so maybe come back and let me read this to you and brace for impact if you missed it. Let me read it one more time. Listen. Just stay with me. Don't get distracted. Stay with me. Listen. If a man and a wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail. But they have the same chance as children raised by just their fathers. The husband and wife raise their kid. The chance of this kid going to jail is the same as just the father raising his kids. The problem is the single mother without a father in the picture that can sit there and discipline the kids, give them hope, values, principles, all the other stuff.
Well, let's just talk
Play
about
different.
So it's true, like both parents bring different values to the children. So dad can teach the child certain actions that he must learn, life skills to be successful in the world. And a woman can also nurture and take care of a child and show them sympathy and kindness and all that. And the dad can show them, this is what life is. You got to be ready. You have to, show them how to do certain things. Like fix the air conditioner or
understand
change the tire.
certain values. Have discipline. Have all these different types of things that men should have. And this brings up a great story because a coworker of mine, he has told me specifically that he's had a couple kids, and what he had done was because he never really wanted to have kids, but he had them anyway, and so he
had them anyway.
And what he did was he told his wife that he was with, he said, "Listen, when these kids are 18 and they're out of the house, I'm leaving too." And because he didn't want to be there with the wife, but he stuck around because he wanted to make sure his kids were going to be raised properly and raised correctly, and make sure that they were in good shape and out the door as successful people, and not screwed up in statistics like he's been explaining. And then once that was complete, then he was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving him and I'm going away, and we're separating." And he honestly, I feel like he did the right thing. He did it the way, like, the whole situation is fucked regardless, because that shouldn't really be a thing.
You should have chose a better woman, but
honestly, but in the situation and the context, he did the best thing that was the best thing possible for his children. He made sure that his children, because they're his responsibility, and as a man, I feel if you have children, it is your responsibility to make sure that they grow up in a real world as successfully as they can, and not run around with their head cut off like a lot of either fatherless homes or single parent homes are. And so I feel like he did the right thing to make sure that his offspring, his legacy, pretty much was best equipped to go on in the world that way. Mm-hmm. And so if someone out there like is thinking about they want to leave their significant other or whatever, and they have kids, I feel like it's best to just stick around for the long haul to ensure that your children, your future, are better off. And that way, once they're gone, then you can leave. I feel like that is like because it's a very harsh, but it's the thing is that it's selfless, and you're doing something right for the people that you brought into this world. You're the reason why they're here,
and you chose that woman that you inseminated in.
Yeah,
you chose that woman,
and you chose that guy to insert his dick into you. So
yeah, you both kind of fucked up if you're not both feeling it. So make sure you guys choose make sure you vet her properly and make sure you choose the
Exactly.
right woman that you have kids with, so you don't end up like that coworker, because you don't want to be the guys like, well, you don't want to be in that situation. You'd rather have the best of both worlds. So make sure you choose correctly who you impregnate, and make sure you're not an idiot and wear protection. Like,
Exactly.
just
And
think.
And if you choose to have a kid and you screw and you're like, oh, I screwed up, I shouldn't be with this person, you need to just take it on the chin, to be a man, and make sure that your offspring, your future is taken care of well. And if you don't like the way that the shit is, you shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Roles. This is statistic. If somebody's watching and saying, oh my God, you're discounting women, you're discounting mothers, go get upset at the stats, not at me. This is stats. You can't get upset at 3 times 3 is 9. That's stats. I'm giving you stats that's being given to us by the government because they have access to these stats. This is disturbing. Let me continue. Girls with no fathers have lower self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
We can lower crime, lower mental issues, help the economy, lower suicide rates, and decrease homelessness by bringing back the family nucleus. There are things that my wife can do as a mother that I can't do. There's things she can bring that I can't bring, but there are things I can do that she can't do.
Exactly.
So now you may say, well, Pat, I agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
We can lower this. But then how come it's not happening? And here's the other question. Who's to blame? Who do we blame with this? Now, you may be listening to this saying, well, it's got to be the husband and wife's fault. It's got to be the man and the woman's fault. Fine. How come it's not the same ratios around the world? Why is U.S. fatherlessness at 23%? Everywhere else is 7% average.
This is what weak as
So
fuck.
really the mom and dad? So how about the mom and dad in India? How about the mom and dad in China? How about the mom and dad in Germany? How about the mom and dad in Brazil? How about the mom and dad in other places? Why are we at 23%? How did this happen? Was it like this before? Is it an evolution? Is it mainstream media? Is it Hollywood? Is it the fact that parents are afraid of parenting because everybody is so much involved? You can't do that to your kid. You can't do this to your kid. You can't discipline your kid like that. Whose fault is it? It's someone's fault. Is it the fact that, hey, we can't really bring church and schools and pray and all this stuff? I don't know. Maybe that's not something you agree with. Maybe it is. Maybe we need those values and principles. But it's somebody's fault in America that this is happening. This is purely a systemic issue that we're having. This cannot be like no, it's really the community, it's the parents, it's the culture, it's all this other stuff. No, standards are standards. We're sitting there not educating. It's not a big deal. Go ahead and do that. It's not a big deal. Go ahead and do that. It's not a big deal. Go ahead and do that. No, standards have dropped, and the numbers are showing. If we judged a country based on how many kids are being raised by fatherless homes, that's producing crimes at the levels that we're getting, sex during teenage pregnancy, abortion, suicide, incarceration, maybe we ought to look at this.
Also, probably shootings too.
Maybe this is very important. Maybe our educational system sucks.
Which it does.
Maybe. Kids spend more time around teachers than they do around their parents. Maybe. Who do we blame? The responsibility has to lie on the nation. Maybe we're either too much involved or we're not selling. Take your time to get married. Take your time before you have sex with someone. Take your time before you get pregnant. Take your time before you have a baby. Protect yourself. Stay home. Do not just go out there and have unprotected sex. Maybe we're not talking about this kind of stuff. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. The stat says we're not selling it in the right way, and we're paying a price for it. If you're in a community that crime is high, hello, you're feeling it. That's the stats. So the next time you see a father that takes their job as a father seriously, you can actually say, how we see somebody in military uniform? Guess what you say? Hey, thank you for your service.
We don't really need any more from the video. We can, but you see what he's saying, guys. It's like, he's got a point. I don't think it's easy to say he doesn't have a point. He definitely has a point.
Because I agree that
I praise any guy who steps up and is a good dad to his children. It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
And I feel like it is it's an issue not just with mothers and fathers, but it's the government, it's the school system, it's just how everything is, like how society is in the United States, I feel. And the parents aren't really doing anything about it. They're kind of oblivious to the fact because they're they're having their own issues because they're not fully there because they're too worried about other stupid things that they probably shouldn't be worried about. And kids are growing up on their pretty much on technology now instead of growing up with their parents. And it's a sad thing. And we could do something. We like people who are our age or are trying to figure out their life and trying to get into a place where they can start a family and stuff. They need to be really be looking into stuff like this and really need to understand your partner, the person you're with, vetting women, just understanding who you're dealing with. Because if you want to have a family, you need to make sure that you're having it with the right person, and you want to make sure that when you do have kids, that you are there to make sure that they grow up in the best way that they can, because you don't want them to become a statistic like he was talking about.
Yeah, guys. So make sure you guys are very, critically thinking through life, and make sure you're trying to plan ahead and be very careful. You don't want to, you want to make the best life for yourself, and you want to try to do it the best you can. Nothing is perfect. Nobody is perfect, but you can try to make life the best you can. And if you just try to improve yourself every day and improve your mind, you can attract the right people into your life and not complicate it as most do. So with that said, if you guys like the video, make sure you hit the like button. Let us know your comments and your thoughts in the comment section about what you think about the situation, and give us some solutions or what you think we can do to solve this problem. And like and make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can donate to the Cash App, link in the description below. We put a lot of hard work into the channel, so if you want to support the channel, link is in there. And with that said, we're going to see you guys in the next video.